How's it going, everybody? Viscount Gregor Hawke here, and welcome to my 100 shots a day for 100 days Pell challenge. This is my day 58. And oh my god, guys, I have no idea what the hell came over me. I came out here to pail and I wasn't feeling all that good, and dude, it was like a 40-some minute paling session. I can't even believe it. It's probably the longest recorded session I've ever done. Usually I don't go that long, but I don't know, it's like I felt like I had stuff to teach and stuff to still learn and stuff to keep working on, and I just didn't want to stop, and I guess that's a good thing, so just went ahead and went with it. I don't know if it's going to be that long today because, my lord, I was going to get that up yesterday, and I looked at it as like, oh yeah, that's only going to take an hour and 45 minutes to render that 40-some minute video. So yeah, never mind. So hopefully I'm not going to go that long today. You know, if I do, it is what it is. Okay. Range on this is definitely, I got it too close. If you set up these little angles with tape like I do, you pretty much want this distance here to be the same as this distance here as well, so I'm still a little bit too close. What I really need to do is stop being a lazy bum and put my new hourglass drill right there where I always do it. And I put it right at the head of the pyramid. But it's basically the same thing that I have going on now. It's all this part of the top part of it. That's like 10,000 times better. But yeah. Got a few more days. Let's see. Today's Wednesday. We got Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I have a few more days to go till practice. So I am still on leg plans. So that's going to be my big focus. Second big focus is my new wraps that I'm practicing. They're not anything new. And I did the same thing I did before, it's just I'm going to do a lot of repetition, bread and butter type training with it. But yeah, looking forward to seeing how I do next practice, because last practice I hurt my back and I wasn't able to go, but I've had, by the time I put arm around again, it'll be about 2 full weeks of Pell under my belt. I want to see where I'm at, especially on the leg plan, because I only planned for another 2 helmet times to put like a whole shitload of focus on it at practices, so that's my plan. And it's funny because everybody up here at this point realizes my plan. But I still do it anyway, so it is what it is. Usually I like to keep my plans and my ideas secret to the last second and then bring them out and test them. But that's very hard to do when I'm doing daily paling videos and showing you exactly what I'm working on. But a lot of what I work on is my bread and butter X theory type kills or combinations. You can know all day what I'm doing, but you still have to react to that first shot. Which makes it a little bit easier for me to get you, even though you know what I'm trying to do. So, it'd be very interesting once I finish up doing leg weeks, I guess, leg plans, and I start moving to shield V. I don't really throw much. But one thing I talked about a whole crap load last paling episode, where I was blabbering on forever and practicing forever. It's all about angles. Everything is an angle. You can start parallel, or you can start thinking straight lines right up until you reach the edge of measure. Then start figuring angles. Start thinking angles. And let your opponent react to the angles you show them. You know, seriously, let them react and let them have it with your intent by sliding to the other side, whichever side that may be. And the direction you step generally has to do with the shot that you're throwing. So snap, I'm going to be stepping right. My butter's either going to be that, or for some reason, the leg. But I generally go for the kill when I do that. It's almost always a belt grab or an off body. Might as well go for the kill. It's pretty much just as open as that leg's going to be once you get him to plant, turn to meet you at this angle. Might as well go for the kill. Because the kill and the leg is open. Might as well take the kill. Okay, let me work in. And I'm not really doing snaps exclusively, but I'm still doing it because it's a couple of my opening combos, starters. And since I feel ultra comfortable with doing that, what I really need to do is just do the footwork. So you guys see me doing that. Generally, if I practice the end result, that's just stage one of my practice. Once I feel this and this really good, the hip is really good, I feel the angle and the position, everything feels great, that's when you add the movement. That first shot actually comes here. The second one comes where you're cutting across the other side as they plant and react to your first shot. And I can't help it doing freaking leg plants because I'm really amped to get legs next practice. I didn't have the opportunity last week because I was all freaking broken. But I can't tell you how powerful it is once you reach that stage where you start to use angles, but not only are you starting to use the angles, you're starting to use your eyes to see and to notice when people bite. And by bite, I generally mean plant and rotate to meet this angle that you're showing your opponent. And when they do that, they're still going this way once you start to slide across. And you're always looking for that, always. You're looking for someone to plant. You're looking for them to rotate. If they plant and rotate, and you practice these angles a lot, you have a very, very good chance of defeating them. So, the difference between an experienced fighter and just an intermediate or a beginner fighter is all of them use angles. Not all of them throw every shot. Like Duke Skeggy Newcomb, if you've heard of him, I had the pleasure of meeting him when he moved up here years ago. He's since moved out. But the man doesn't throw a lot of shots. You know what he does? He's very good at this. He's very good at that. He's very good at that. And he's good at that. He doesn't generally throw wraps. Doesn't generally throw backhands. But he is very, very freaking good at what he does. And he is very good at watching you. And knowing that exact moment to let you have it. And that's the difference between an experienced and a not so experienced fighter. They have the ability to bait you, either with footwork, you know, and an angle. They have the ability to just kind of pump you to see what you do. A lot of people do that. Like for me, it would just be going through that first motion because I am very fast. So if somebody sees that, they are going to start reacting. And if I see their D shifting up, it's kind of a really quick. I do a lot of watching now. I watch a lot of hand position as well. And it's something that Sir Sebastian wants to shoot a video on very soon. Hand position. It's absolutely massive, everyone, to watch people's hands. Like, it's the funniest thing. Like, I salute my most honorable opponent. Most opponents look at each other in the face or look on the shoulder or something. Most people I fight try to look at me in the eyes, and we salute, and everything about me is just watching their sword. Like, it'll be the funniest thing. Like, they'll be right there, but I'll just be watching their hands. I watch their hands because their hands tell me absolutely everything. Yeah, it's really funny once you realize hand position. That right here tells me I can only throw snaps with power, or right side shots with power. This hand position tells me I can throw left hand, off body, off legs, backhands. Hand position, it tells you absolutely everything. So be very mindful and watch that. And watch for the video that Sir Sebastian's going to put out as well. He seemed very excited about it. So, and I'm very excited about it as well because I am very huge. Besides being fat, but I'm very huge on watching hands. Like, it's next level importance. Hands tell you everything. And I'm like super stoked for legs. I cannot wait. That was driving upwards. That is not good, folks. Whenever you see me do a wrap, and it either comes in like this, or this, being above the heart, that's bad. Always cut towards the heart, no matter which direction you're coming from. You cannot stress that enough. You want to train that a lot. You want the sword to be coming in. I mean, it can start out parallel, but when you turn it over, let it come down as a chop like this. Much harder to block. This is very easy to block. A horizontal plane. Very easy. Changing that horizontal plane into a downward chop, exceptionally deadly, harder to block. You can't duck it. You try, you're catching it in the neck or the back. So, and then same thing applies for wraps on the leg. I mean, basically the same kind of setups. I usually start them on the other side. When they bite, I slide across. And as I'm sliding across, my hand disappears behind my shield. And then it comes right up like that. They might see it at the very last second, but generally it sweeps underneath their defense and catches them in the body. Or the upper leg, the hip, when I do that. It's very, very good. Oh, I did it again, see? And this is what happens when you don't train it as often. You know what you want to do, you know what you should do, and it doesn't work out because you're thinking. So that's why repetition and katas are so strong. So strong. And I can't stress this enough. If you're starting wraps and you're new to wraps, do not be any closer than this when you're doing it. You get any closer, there's an extreme good chance that when you're throwing it, you're going to have a power issue, and you're also going to hit yourself or your basket or your arm on the edge of the shield as you're trying to come around and wrap around your body. So just be back a little bit further. Being back a little bit further makes all the difference in the world. Absolutely all the difference. Since I am on leg day, you better believe I'm going to be throwing that a lot of practice. Right there. That one right there. And I'll try to share the footage as well so you can see how it actually, I set up They plant, they rotate, they start to face me. My hand just kind of drops and disappears. The next thing they know, the sword is there. So that's what you want to be looking at. Looking for. And I just saw an example yesterday of a fellow put up some footage, and he was doing 3-part combinations from different starting positions. And one of his sword blows, which I love to see, he was hiding behind a shield. The return and everything. Even the start off on some of them. But I do that a lot on my returns. Like, I can't stress it enough. I let people see my sword a lot, and then suddenly it's gone. Suddenly it's gone, and then there it is again. Okay, you know what I really need to do is I didn't train it yesterday. I need to train my left a little bit because I know it's like complete and utter clown shoes still. Like, I used to be not as good with my left as my right, but I was pretty damn good with it. And now, after 4 to 5 years of not training it, it's back to basically day one. Okay, let me go ahead and do that. I don't want this to be another 40-minute episode. Oh, darn, I don't have it with me. Word for it, Demi. Yeah, let's do that. So I'll probably just wrap it up once I do this. Get the left out of the way. Sword isn't ground for a left hand, but it's not too bad. Okay. Let's try this. Still feels natural to be on this side. Okay. So apologize for the embarrassment. I am a knight, but this is going to be freaking ugly. And you know why? It's because I haven't trained any of this. I mean, look at that. It just looks. So, number one thing I'm doing wrong right now that I just started, I'm trying to go too fast. Speed hides your mistakes. And right now, my left is filled with mistakes. So what we need to do, hit mechanics, blade. Ooh, that was ugly. See, it's like I don't know how to transition. Like before, it's really easy. On my right hand, now. So it's like, it's almost like I start to bring it up for the outside block, I just don't have to bring it up as high. So, exact opposite now. So let me start out low, because that's kind of what I was doing over there. Alright, so that feels pretty good now that Okay, let me actually try this, because if I'm left-handed and I'm using a shield, there's a very high likelihood that when I fight a righty, I'm not going to have sword blade forward, because that's just dangerous. So. And the way I used to fight left-handed, because the last time I trained I was using high guard, so I just, it feels like I want to bring it back up to that, and I'm not using my hips. Yeah, it's I'm telling you guys, it's bad. And I'm doing it again. I'm trying to be too fast. That's what I used to use a lot back in the day. Flick to the eyes, get him to react. Take the body on a step or the leg. Such an amazing shot. Especially if on your first shot they also fire. It's amazing. Feels very awkward still. I guess it could be worse though, honestly, after that many years of not training it. So I'm still screwing up, everybody. Mostly my technique sucks, but I'm still going too fast to train something that I suck at. I can't stop myself sometimes because I'm used to that kind of speed because my other hand is feeling good and I've worked out most of the inconsistencies in my technique. But that's more of the pace I really need to go at. Really focus on blade on. The sword's not coming in at some Frankenstein angle, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, I very much look forward to practicing this every day. And I promise everybody, it's not going to be this ugly. Sometimes having a white belt is a curse as well as a blessing. And right now, I need to train it because my left hand is a curse. And if I get armed, there's a really good chance that I'm not going to be able to defend myself, white belt or not. And it is because of the very crappy left hand technique I got right now. Still going too fast. Seriously, and this is the shit I say to my squire all the time too. And I'm just as critical of myself because you start to do something, it starts to feel slightly good, you speed up, and then you start doing horrible, you don't realize you're working in mistakes. So this speed is very good for just starting out. It feels so awkward. I'm hitting myself in my freaking head. Maybe I should put my helmet on and do left. Okay. I tell you what, there towards the end, even though I kept speeding up, slowing down, it started to feel better. So that at least makes me happy. I just don't like how stubborn I am about speeding up, and I can't help it. And every time I catch myself, I try to talk shit to myself to remind myself. Stop doing that, you suck. Wait until you get good. Then speed up. I mean, even though I'm phenomenal with a lot of my right-handed bread and butter shots, I still throw them about that speed. Maybe it's kind of like I want to make myself look better, but see, I do this for me, not for you, unless you catch some kind of gleam of inspiration and you can run with it. That makes me happy. But for the most part, I'm doing this for me. And it doesn't do me any good to speed up when I'm chock full of mistakes on my left hand. Trying to force it, and doing that, it almost makes it look better. But I'm kind of teaching myself bad things. So I need to just, this pace I'm going right now is perfect. If you want to do interval training or speed training after you have your shots down really well and the footwork, by all means. Just try not to rush your speed until you're ready. Because I can assure you, and I say this a lot, if you can do it slow, you can do it fast. And the more you do it, faster you're going to get. And the other thing I do that I don't, I do talk about manipulating people and watching what they're doing. All right, a lot of what I'm doing, I'm saying to myself, visualizing, okay, I'm coming in with the poke, stabbing, they're reacting, I'm seeing starting to twist. They're trying to rotate and meet me. I say that in my head over and over and over. And I do that to train myself to watch for that. Don't necessarily go, in some cases it'll work. Way more effective if you just kind of let them react. Once they start reacting, then drop that second shot. But I'm always saying that to myself. Visualizing. All right, they're reacting, they plan. They're rotating, fire. That's the kind of stuff I say in my head a lot, visualization. You just got to do that. I mean, it's a pail. It's not going to move anywhere. It's not going to twist or do anything. But you just need to kind of train yourself on something that's not alive to deal with how living targets do things. And you're just waiting for that moment of planning, rotating. That's what you want. A lot. You see somebody swallow your bait? Good job. Now are you smart enough to watch for it and be ready for it? That's the big thing. People can bite all day long, but if you don't have your butter coming in to kill them at the right moment, it's not going to do you any good. Okay, a few more wraps, I think I'm done, because this is going to turn into another long episode, I know it. Alright, so let's just do our setups. I have to be really careful not to hit my light. And I hope you guys are noticing my feet as well, as I try very hard not to approach my opponent like this and then cut. I'm trying really hard to present to them my deception, which is this angle, this line going across. And when they bite, they start to bite, slide across, fire your intended kill. All right, couple more and I'm done. I was too close. That's what. Just do not get caught up in the trap of trying to smother yourself with the rocks. Never be closer than these lines. Very important you understand that part. I mean, you can continue this line, but if you notice, I'm not getting any closer to the Pell. I'm continuing that distance, keeping that distance. Stops you from getting tangled up on your opponent's shield, your opponent's arm. Helps you not have power issues when you're landing that shot. That was bad because I didn't start it out like this. I might have still got it, but this gives me a higher chance, showing them the first angle, the deception. Get him to bite. Makes a huge difference. All right. I think I'm going to go ahead and call it. Appreciate you joining me today, and I will catch you next episode. Peace.